Welcome to Studio J, presented by Come Here NC. I'm Chris Edge, and we are here with Travis.
Hi.
Hello. Fran and Andy, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having us.
Lovely to be here. This is literally just got off the aeroplane and we're here in your beautiful studio.
You literally just landed in.
Figuratively speaking,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, because today marks the first day of the U.S. tour, right?
And it's the first tour in 14 years, proper tour for us in America.
Mm.
Coming from a band who literally we built kind of rehearsed by playing. Our first shows were with Ben Folds 5 in
That's right, yeah.
1997.
From here.
Yeah,
Band
that's
from
right. Yeah,
Chapel Hill.
Of course.
From here, yeah.
And so we went across America with Ben and the band, and it was tremendous. And then we came back and back and back, and so we toured here until about 2008, and then our manager just stopped bringing us here because just FYI, when you see a British band in America, be guaranteed they're always breaking even or losing money.
Mm.
But that's fine because you make money in other things,
Right.
It's totally, you come and also be sure that they're here to play for you. That's why they come. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
So it's really brilliant to be back.
Yeah, and you're kicking off this tour today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine there's actually like first night jitters, but is there any of that?
None.
Well, 50% of the band, me and Dougie still get a little bit nervous.
Bass and guitars get nervous, drums and vocals.
And that hasn't changed since the day one, we're exactly the same before we go on stage now as we were when we first started.
Yeah.
I have this moment just before we go on stage where I'm like, this is kind of surreal. It's like a sort of surreal feeling of the weirdness of a gig. What is this? Because usually you go to gigs and and it's fine when you're in the audience. You're like, all right, this is how it's. But then you're like, oh wait a minute, I'm in the band.
Yeah.
What? These people are here to see us. Oh, they're crazy.
And your band is still intact.
Yes,
All the
still the
original
same.
the
members.
sanctity of the band is.
Which
still,
not many bands can say that, really.
I know.
think Radiohead.
What's the trick?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
We sort of feel a little bit like, the old couple that have been together for like 60 years. They're about to celebrate their diamond jubilee. But I think with us, it's that we all make each other laugh, and we tell a lot of stories, but mostly it's laughing.
Yeah.
I think it's just a general respect for each other's boundaries and things. We've been together long enough that we know how to wind each other up if we wanted to, but you don't. There's no point. It's no fun if you're all in a bad mood. Yeah. It's kind of like family get-togethers. Your Christmas dinner, you could aggravate anyone in your family easily by saying something, but you choose not to.
It sounds like a good marriage.
Yeah. No,
But Andy hates it when I do this.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, let's talk about the new album, LA Times. It's been out for a little bit now, but it is fantastic.
Thanks, man.
It's so good. A very deeply personal album. Talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, I've lived in LA for 8 years now, and so the title of the album comes from the title of the song, LA Times, and that song is the last song on the album. We were going to make it the first song on the album, but it's got more swearing, I think, in the first 30 seconds than any song by any band, even rap bands. There's more swearing. And it was, I just had enough of Los Angeles, and it just got to me. And I just vent my whole 8 years of getting stuck in your car, getting like your house flooding, getting beat, like getting jumped by like people in the street, seeing crazy things happening all the time, and it all comes out in that song. But I thought the title of it sounded like a great album title, so we called the album that. All the songs are personal. There's not one Travis song. There's not one song I've ever written that's not about something that's going on in my life. And I think if you can, in a time where, I have not heard many songs recently about anything. I love songs about stuff. You've got to go and listen to like Joni Mitchell or something if you want to hear something about something, or Paul Simon, or and anyway, so so they are all personal, and it gives the record something. It gives it a little bit of effervescence if it's about something. It's not just melodies.
Gives it feeling. And meaning.
Yeah. And I think you can tell, when somebody's talking about something that they actually care about. There's an integrity to it and a depth to it that sort of, when you just write a song that says la la la, I love you. It doesn't have the same ring. Really.
Right. Let's talk about a couple. Raise the Bar. You've actually got some help on that song.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
So I was trying to get this track listing for the album, and I listened to the record. I'd listened to it too much and I'd gotten deaf to it, and I was like, oh no. So I called up Chris from Coldplay, who is an old mate. We go back to the beginning of both bands, and he lives quite near me, and I sort of said, like, I need some new ears on this. So he came out and we drove up the PCH, and he just like listened to it and helped me with the running order. But when it got to that song, he sort of stopped and kept going back to that song. Yeah. And when we got back to the house, he went to the piano and he was playing it and had already got the words to the chorus and stuff. And a couple of days later, I was like, I should ask him if he would sing on this. This would be quite a good story, a good nice vibe.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, you should get Brandon from the Killers or anyone else to sort of do it. Brandon, don't you?" I was like, "Oh yeah." So Brandon and Chris are singing on the chorus of that song, and the song is about that whole idea of coming together. Bars. It's a bar in New York, and it's about a bar in New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a true story, but it's based on a true story.
No, it is true. The songs.
Well, it's an imaginary night.
It's an imaginary night in this bar. But all the guys in the bar, Johnny's the bar owner, Jack Walls is like Robert Mapplethorpe's like muse is like there. His brother Chris is there. Richard Hambleton's in it, the artist, the painter. Mm-hmm. There's loads of. It's a New York bar. If you've been to New York, it's like New York's just one of those cities, I always love going there. It's just, but the bars there's certain bars. It's like Cheers.
Yeah.
You walk in and it's.
And Johnny's one of these guys. He's a part of so many bands that come through New York. He always like put Black and White. Everyone went there when he played like Irving Plaza and things. After it, you'd all go and drink there. So he's such a big part of all the bands that sort of come through New York. So it was kind of that celebrating that or the closure of it, really. And so.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another song on the album, speaking of New York, Naked in New York City. And I thought I read that it was recorded in one take.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does that mean that the song is a live recording?
Most of it, what we do is live.
How does that work?
Well, you just play it live. But most of what we do...
You start and go, and then you edit and you go, that's it.
And kind of none of us knew the song that well, which was nice. It's a really nice point where you sort of I think when you know a song too well, sometimes you overplay it or you overthink it too much. When you just go in and do things, sometimes, not always, but sometimes it just works out perfectly. In that time, it was a beautiful... You can always tell a good take because there's a 10-second silence. Because we were all in separate rooms. You're sort of, set for separation. And then there's about a 10-second silence after you finish, and when you hear that silence, you know you've done a good take because nobody wants to mess it up at the end. So it was like,
there's a pregnant pause. Yeah. The thing is, I was messing that song up like constantly. We did the first take, I messed, but you get to the end of it, it's quite a long song, mm-hmm. and I'd get all the way through it like 90% and then fumble. And it's hot, and then you get everyone's beginning. The pressure starts to build. I think the third take was the one that we chose. Yeah. We did it another 5 times. I messed it up every single time after that and before it. I think there's maybe 2 takes that were okay.
Yeah, but it's that is a beautiful take.
It's a nice song, and it took 27 years to write it.
What took so long?
Some songs are like that. You start them, and then you get up to a sort of. It's like a stud wall, and you go and you've got to sort of feel around for the doorway into the next part of the song, and sometimes you're stuck in that room for 27 years,
but it never left you.
Well, no, you come back to it. You come back to it like you start first of all with a song. You come back to it sort of 4 months later, mm-hmm. or maybe weeks later. Try it again. You're sort of tapping the wall. Oh, there's that. Let's see, that'd normally be a song. You go, oh, there's the door. Yeah. And but in this case, it was just like, It's the same all the way, and then it would go to like 6 months, and then I'd come back to like a year later, and then you forget about it for 2 years, and then the next thing you know, it's 27 years later, and Dougie's like, "Oh, that song," and we're in the studio, and he's going, "That song, that the Naked in New York City," and I'm like, "Oh, but it's not finished." And I think the pressure of the moment helped me finish it.
Yeah.
So 27 years to write it, and then 3 minutes to record it. Wow. So that's what I kind of like about a lot of recorded music, older recorded music. When you listen to it, like Buddy Holly, like pre 1980, sorry. Mm-hmm. When you press play, you're listening to a live band, and that's the magic of music.
And music, and when we were funnily enough, we were talking about it just a little bit in the car over. Music doesn't move in the same way as it does anymore, or it used to, because the way it's recorded, it's all recorded on grids, and everything's got to be in perfect time, and everything gets tuned. And I think it's and the thing is with the sort of the arrival of AI making music now, it can do that. Yeah. It can make things perfect. It can't make things imperfect, and it's imperfections that make things brilliant. It was like sort of Nina Simone's voice was slightly off pitch, just slightly, but that's what makes it Nina Simone's voice.
They'll probably figure that out.
Nowadays, someone will tune it up. Nowadays, someone would tune her voice nowadays, and it wouldn't sound the same. It would lose some of its character, and a lot of character's been lost in music because people polish things too much. Music's been sort of too heavily polished, and I think, because AI can do that now, people will be moving back to sort of human music, where it moves, where it doesn't stay in a certain tempo. The bands used to speed up and slow down quite dramatically, and it doesn't happen anymore. And that was exciting.
Us.
Yeah. But that's exciting. That's why I love seeing proper live bands. So when they're not playing to tons of backing tracks, because it moves, and it moves with a crowd could excite you, and your track could speed up, and it's that sort of thing I find fascinating, rather than sort of being perfect.
They're going to edit that answer down to yes.
AI. They'll just run AI on it.
Using AI. Yeah. You. I don't know if you both live in LA, Fran.
I live in Liverpool.
Are you impacted by the fires at all?
I wasn't impacted by the fires, but everyone knows someone that was impacted by the fires. It's horrific. It looks
awful.
But that's LA. You come out. You're like, I come out of my studio. I'm in downtown Los Angeles. I come out and it's like blue skies, and you might be in another. Everyone was watching, even in LA, sorry Andy, everyone was watching it on the telly or TV or online. And it's interesting. I was talking to someone the other day, and this city where I've because the album's called LA Times, we've been talking a lot about Los Angeles throughout the whole promotion and in radio stations and whatnot, interviews, and I figured that there's something odd about Los Angeles, and I think a lot of people would probably say there's a lot odd about Los Angeles. It's where Hollywood comes from. It's where dreams are made, but the reality is something completely different. But mostly, I think the issue there is that people don't get a chance to rehearse being human, because we're all stuck in our cars on the 405 or the 101 or the 10, and you're just stuck there. Mostly on the 405. And everyone's like in their own little pod, listening to their podcast or whatever it is they're doing. But I think what this, and it takes these events to really allow people to the humanity to pour out.
Sense of community almost.
It is I've never seen it, like people like helping other people, like what can we do, all the GoFundMe things. I was like, whoa, it gets a bad rap, Los Angeles, but actually we're all human, and being human is about, we need community, and it's very difficult to make a community when everyone's stuck in their bloody cars,
Yeah.
But it's insane.
Fran, Andy, Travis, thank you for coming in and
thanks for having
chatting
me.
with
me. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And good luck on the tour.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.